I was saying this is that's still on your shoulders. All right, there we go. I heard it that time. Morning, everybody. I'm going to call this meeting of the Westford Capital Planning Committee to order for Friday, September 12th, 2025. Just a reminder for everybody that's joining and anybody new that these meetings are being recorded. So thank you all for joining and good morning. The first order of business, as my friend Paul made sure that I didn't miss, is that we do have quite a number of new members this year, which is terrific. This committee has evolved and changed over my time here and Dan's time here, and it's actually great. It's always nice to have new faces, new people joining for a variety of reasons. So I'm gonna go through the four members, and then we'll just give you guys each. You don't have to give us your whole backstories. I won't put you that much on the spot, but it'd be nice just to hear from you and hear how long you've been in town and all that kind of stuff before we get into our official agenda. So we have Shauna Farnsworth. Am I saying that right?
Shayna.
Shayna, welcome.
Hi, I'm Shayna. I've been in Westford 12, 13, almost 13 years. I was on the budget task force for one of the first things that I did within the town, and I am now on the school committee, and I'm happy to join as one of the school committee reps. Between me and Tom, we'll make sure that somebody is here to cover that role. So
Awesome.
thanks
We
to everybody
appreciate it.
that I don't know.
No, that's great. Thank you and welcome. Tom Wimberg.
Hi, I'm Tom Wimberg. We moved here in September of 1980. So I've been around for a while, seen a lot of changes. I retired about 2 years ago. I was a software engineer for lots and lots of years, and I am the rep from the Permanent Town Building Committee.
Awesome. Well, thank you and welcome. Thrilled to have you. Someone I've known for, I don't know, Jamie, what, 30 or 40 years at this point? Jamie Holmes, welcome.
Hi. Yes, I think it's been a while, Paul. I grew up in Westford. I moved here when I was 2 and have lived here most of my life, a short period when I was in my early 20s. I lived in Lowell for a few years, but we came back to Westford and have been here ever since. So for 40-ish years, and I'm happy to be on Capitol as a member of the Community Preservation Committee.
Yeah, thanks, Jamie. And that's a big one for us. CPC is very closely intertwined with a lot of what we do here on Capitol. So it's wonderful for us to have someone on that committee, on this committee as well. It's really helpful as we go through. So really appreciate you joining.
Awesome.
Um, and someone who lives, and I'm biased, but I will say on the best street in Westford, Leland Road. And I have to say that because my wife lived and grew up there, and her sister still lives on it. So that's on the record. But Jared Broberg, welcome.
Thank you very much, Jared Broberg. I moved to Westford just over 4 years ago with my wife and two young daughters. I've worked in the biotech industry for 15 years, and I'm currently the head of manufacturing for Sartorius Clinical Production Services, but we're originally from Cape Cod. So looking forward to getting involved.
Welcome. Well, welcome, Jared. And all you guys, thank you for joining. As any committee like this, just volunteering your time and volunteering to kind of help out the town is incredibly important. I love this committee. I've been on it for, I don't know, Dan, keep me honest, 12 or 13, 14 years or something like that at this point. It's been a while. And what we do here is really, I think all the committees through town are very important. This one has been really great through the time. We've had a ton of changes. But capital projects, there's some really, really big ones. There's some ones that get heated around town and people are very concerned about. So this committee working through it and providing our guidance to Kristen and our thoughts is, in my opinion, very, very important and critical. And so I do appreciate everybody that takes the time that joins this committee. And historically, it's been a great one to be on. It's been a little bit of fun, and the discourse has always been very respectful and all that. So again, thank you for joining. I'm sure Kristen talked you through kind of how we go about what we do as we're going forward, but please speak up, ask questions, since we do Zoom now, ever since COVID, the hand raise button on Zoom is the best way for me and Dan as we're moderating these to see you, but please ask questions as we go through. It's a pretty open and fluid type of conversation as we go through. So we do try to stick to time limits. I will tell you that. A lot of folks have a lot of things going on, and it's tough to schedule these meetings around it. So when we have times and limits and stuff like that, we do try to make sure we get everybody up and out by that time. But by all means, please ask questions as we go, interject, and just as Kristen is doing now, when your hand's up, I'll give it right to you. So, morning, Kristen. Go ahead.
Good morning, Paul. I'm wondering if the existing committee members could also introduce themselves for the benefit of the new members. And we also have a few new staff members on the call that will be giving presentations. So I think that would be helpful for the staff too.
Yeah. Oh, I wasn't planning on being put on the spot, Kristen, but if you want to do that, much obliged and appreciate it. Sure, I'll start, and then Dan, I'll give it to you, and maybe you can run through the rest on here. Just keep me honest, Dan. Paul Haja, I am the chair of the Capital Planning Committee. I've been the chair for maybe 4 years, 5 years now. I've been a member at large for, like I said, probably 14 years or something like that. I joined a long time ago. Yeah, from this town. My wife's from the town too. We both grew up going through the school systems, Westford Academy, moved back when we had kids. So we've been here a long period of time. And as I clearly just went on and on about, I'm a big fan of this committee. So appreciate everybody joining.
Great. I'm Dan O'Donnell. I'm the finance director for the town. I've been here for 20 years in the finance department in some capacity. I'm also a resident in town. I grew up here just like Paul. So, I have kids in the school system, so very closely tied in. Capital planning, I've been on the committee, I think, since 2010. So it's been about 15 years, and it began in 2008. So almost from the get-go there. All right, let's see. Who else do we have here? We have Christina Green.
Hi, Christina Green. I've lived in town since 1999. 3 kids, they all went through Westford schools. They're in college and graduated now. I got involved in the town a long time ago with the Recycling Commission, moved on to the Finance Committee. I'm now chair of the Finance Committee. And I think I don't know, that's about it. I've been on Capitol for maybe 5 years, something like that, as a liaison. Thanks.
All right, let's see here. We have John Cunningham.
Yeah, John Cunningham, a member of the select board. I'm the representative of the select board. I've been on this committee on and off since its inception back in 2008. I was started out on the Comprehensive Master Plan Committee, and that's when we recommended establishing this committee. And then been on about a dozen other committees throughout the years. I've lived in Westford. Emma and I have lived here for 30 years plus. So this is a fun committee.
It is a fun committee. We have John Fryer. I think you're on mute, John.
Hopefully that's better.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm John Fryer. I'm the alternate on the Finance Committee. I joined the Finance Committee last year, so this will be my second year. I think the Capital Planning Committee is a very interesting organization to be with. Been in town since 1996. I retired about 5 years ago out of the high-tech industry. 2 boys who grew up in town, went through the school system and have now grown and left, and look forward to working with everybody.
Sean. Then we have Kristen.
Good morning, Kristen Last, the town manager with the town of Westford. I've been the town manager for a little over 2.5 years, and really enjoy working with this committee, both working with the staff on preparations as well as receiving your feedback when I am preparing the capital plan for both a special town meeting and annual town meeting. And if anyone would like to talk offline about their participation or any questions, always happy to do that.
All right, we have Dr. Chu.
Hi, everybody. Chris Chu. I'm the superintendent of schools. I'm going into my 5th year as the superintendent. I've been in Westford for 12 years. Before being superintendent, I was a principal over at Stony Brook, and I've enjoyed working on this committee for the last 5 years.
Great. we have Tom LaFlamme.
Good morning. I've been a resident in Westford for I think 9 or 10 years at this point. Prior to that, I was an employee for 10 years. I served on affordable housing, finance, and now on school committee.
Great. So for most of the staff, we're going to see them when they present their articles, but I'm just going to introduce Hannah Muller as well, our new treasurer collector.
Hi, everyone. Can you hear me? Sorry, getting new at this. Hi, I'm Hannah Muller. I just started to replace Christine on August 11th, so I've been here just about a month now. I grew up in Groton. I worked in Groton previously for 13 years. I'm excited to be here. This is a really large group. Our capital planning committee was much smaller, so I'm interested to see how this goes with so many voices. I can't wait to understand all of your points of view. Thank you.
And also we have Jesse Byer, our town accountant, who's been with us quite a while, but he's offered to take our minutes as well. So thank you, Jesse.
Yeah, just wanted to say hi. Town accountant Jesse Byer. Been the town accountant, I think, for the last 12 years. Lived in town for the last 6. Just have a kindergartner starting this year, and yep, gonna do the minutes this year. So,
Jesse,
Thank you, Jesse.
careful what you say.
The minutes are the most thankless job, and appreciate you doing it.
I wanted to help Dan out a little bit, so.
It's nothing but complaints about, oh, you missed this and there should be a comma there, and oh, it's the worst. So thank you.
A long overdue promotion, Jesse.
All right. Is that everyone, Dan? We through?
I think we'll meet everybody as we go through the projects, the rest of the people.
Awesome.
So
all right. So for everybody new and old, just a reminder, because it is the first meeting, we're going to jump into our first agenda item, which is a review of the capital requests for the special town meeting. In future meetings, and we can talk about this at the end, but we'll have a list of requests by department, by town department, and we kind of go through and they present, and we have a normal flow, but we will have meetings like this throughout the year where requests come up for special town meetings and we need to go through. So ask your questions as we go, please. If you have them, raise your hand as we're going through. We'll get to understand, we'll get to know what's going on, and at the end, I think we'll take a vote, right, Dan, on whether we recommend approving these as amended, or whatnot, and give it's our recommendation to Kristen for what to include in special town meeting as far as our proposals for these capital projects. So let's jump in. We're starting with firewall upgrades and technology, and then we can just we can run through the list.
Okay, thanks everyone. Mike
Thanks,
Wells, I'm the IT director. Been in the town for like 13 years, but about to retire. So I also want to let the new members know that even though we've got at least 3 other highly qualified IT people on the committee, it's traditional not to ask the IT director any awkward questions about his proposals. So
you're right.
Okay, so this technology item is we're trying to accomplish 2 things with this. It's at the moment we have 8, I believe it is, different connections to the internet, mostly schools, individual schools, but we have a network which links all our buildings together. So that really is a hangover from the days of when we did not have a lot of capacity in between the buildings. So what we want to do is firstly combine those 8 connections into probably 3 higher speed connections. We have 8 1 gig connections right now. We'll probably go to 3 gig or 3 5 gigs, depending on the pricing. And also at the same time, we've currently using what you might describe as old-fashioned firewalls, ASAs that just do protocol and address filtering. And then we have a second box, a thing called an IBOS, behind each of those connections, which does a bit more closer examination, not quite down to the content or session level, but blocking certain addresses and domains and things like that, misbehavior. We plan to try and upgrade to those 3 connections using what they're calling next generation firewalls. Meaningless term, but it basically consolidates those functions into one. where we will be able to do deep packet inspection. We'll be able to do look for behavior patterns that indicate either attempts to breach our systems or that we have been breached and there is activity happening inside our network, which we should be concerned about. So the total cost of the firewalls is somewhere over 100,000. We have got a grant for 73,300 already approved. So this amount of money we're asking for here is the difference between what we expect to spend on those firewalls and what we already have as a grant. I might say there's another upcoming in the annual town meeting. There'll be another capital request for general network upgrades, some of which will end up being put towards this because there are some implications for the capacity in the network and the flows of data in the network that we'll need to address when we do this. But we're keeping that separate for now.
Thanks,
okay,
Mike.
let's have it.
Any questions on that one, group? Christina, go ahead.
I have to ask one.
Yeah, sure.
Just curious, Mike, why are you putting this for special town meeting? Like, why now?
Well, we already have the grant approved, and the grant is on a limited time scale. We don't
Gotcha.
have an unlimited amount of time to allocate that money. I think it has to be allocated, probably allocated by the end of this calendar year.
Gotcha.
So we need to get the T's crossed and things on that.
Sure. And was this part of the plan all along to upgrade the firewall?
We'd been working on it for over a year. The grant process was laborious, and I don't remember when it got approved. It was only like February or March, if I remember correctly. So it was too late for us to get it into the annual town meeting last year.
Gotcha. Okay, thanks.
John, go ahead.
Mike, when you say allocated, do you mean obligated? Are we going to have to be in the contract by the end of calendar year, or is there some kind of limit on when we have to obligate the money?
I think we have to have, ordered something with the money.
Okay, thanks.
Okay. That wasn't bad, Mike. There's only two.
No, really?
Got some. They're easy ones.
It's not nice to question Sir Michael.
Yes.
All right, great. Thanks, Mike. That was great.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, let's keep moving. The next we have Public Buildings, 51 Main.
Good morning. I'm Jeff Goodwin, Director of Facilities. Been here working in the town for 4 years, a little over 3 in my current position as the Director of Facilities for the town buildings and the school buildings. Here this morning to talk about a project that Mike Edwards and I have been working closely on over the last few weeks at 51 Main Street. As many of you know, we recently have been wrapping up a study with Tecton Architects, who came in and did a physical and programmatic assessment for 10 of the town buildings to take a look at the physical infrastructure of the buildings, but also to meet with departments to talk about programmatic needs and space needs. We went into this study knowing that we had some space needs, particularly related to town hall and the departments that we have currently there. The Tecton study certainly affirmed the fact that we are in desperate need of some space for a few of these departments. What it also affirmed is that we have this entity at 51 Main Street that is in desperate need of some physical work, particularly around the exterior envelope. But it's also in need of a good upfit on the inside if we're going to continue to have this building in our inventory of buildings. So Mike and I have been meeting over there to try and figure out how we can put this building back into some purpose for the town besides just being a parking garage for vehicles. And we found that there's an opportunity, particularly on the first floor office area in the former dispatch area, to potentially move our animal control officer over there and make better use of the space. So what we're proposing here with this particular project is to address the exterior envelope concerns. As many of you know, if you've driven by, you can see that the vinyl siding and the aluminum siding is in really rough shape. We have rotted wood corners on the building that are progressively getting much worse year by year, and we definitely have to intervene and do something with this building and not continue to allow it to dilapidate in front of us. So in this project, what we're hoping to do is replace the vinyl siding on the exterior. We're going to replace the roof, and we have quotes to bring a company in to demo and clean and get the interior ready for some certain level of renovation, both on the first floor and the second floor. But as part of this project, the first phase is really to bring the first floor office online for animal control, as well as upfitting the first floor bathroom and adding some heat into the building, into that particular space. That's pretty much it in a nutshell. I'm happy to take any questions you might have about this one.
Mine's more procedural, and maybe it's more for Kristen and Dan, but just with the TBD, we'll probably, I mean, we need to put something in there, right? Like, I don't think we can make a recommendation for a wide open expenditure. So how do we want to handle this one?
My apologies, Paul. I forgot to mention, I did update the database. The ask is for 200K.
200K, perfect.
Yep.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
We did send all the quotes out yesterday after the fact because we're just waiting on one more quote that we had to get. So
No, that's fine. I just want to make sure we have a number that we're on.
And
Right.
Paul, just to interject on two other matters, we are coordinating with the Permanent Town Building Committee to review this at their next meeting. Mike Edwards has had a conversation with Mike Patton, the chair. Tom Winberg has also helped us through the facilities assessment. In a sense, we still need to get him up to speed on several things, but he'll be a great liaison. One of the things I want to bring the committee up at the 30,000 foot level is that if we are to do any adjustments at town hall, police station, other buildings, it may not be until and if the Robinson School building project goes forward. So we see that there is a need within the next 6 months or so to get 51 Main back in a usable sense, to revitalize the outside, because we know that we're not tearing the building down. That's very, very costly. And we see this as a necessary move for the town strategically within our facility study.
Is that why the timing is special town though, Kristen, rather than pushing it into the next?
Yes, absolutely. Right. We don't feel that we can go through another winter with the conditions that we have now. It will only get more expensive to remediate in the future.
And I'll speak to another point on the timing. One is we do have roof and building envelope issues that have not gotten better with time since the building was decommissioned in 2018. The other issue is really just timing and workload. This would be a good fall and winter project, and we want to try to avoid overloading facilities, because in the summer months where they're really tied up with schoolwork, primarily because we plan to do really the general contracting portion of this ourselves. So there will be a heavy management load on Jeff, and we want to try to get that done over this fall and winter and early spring.
Yeah, gotcha. Okay, thanks, Mike. Look, this has been a project that I think's been on the radar forever, and there's clearly a lot of work that needs to be done. So I don't think the 200,000 is a massive ask. The timing obviously is just a little bit out there, but I get it. I totally get it. I'm fine with it. So, John, go ahead.
Yeah, the previous project we had met its demise because of that timing issue and being a major project. Conspicuously by its absence is anything to do for IT. And the question might be, is this just the beginning of a series of projects to get this into a much bigger project? So I think that's something we should be mindful of.
I can speak to that to some degree, John, and we'll invite Jeff and Mike Wells. We have discussed this building during the capital planning project discussion for IT, and the general consensus is this really would be a lateral move for them, and it didn't make a huge amount of sense to move IT into that building. There's also a big unresolved question of what we want to do with the upstairs. If we get to a certain point with this building, in terms of change of use or code compliance, it does become a much more expensive thing. And that's really why we're just looking at bringing the bottom level online and getting the envelope secured. Any use we have contemplated right now primarily is around really what is the minimal use we can get out of it without a huge investment. Anything we touch on that top floor outside of a potential training space or storage gets us into a place where we have a much more costly investment. And we're not considering that right now. We really need to understand what's going to happen with Robinson, what's going to happen with Town Hall before we make the remainder of any investment decisions on that building. But we cannot let it continue to fall apart.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
That makes sense. Tom, go ahead.
So I see a quote for the roof and the siding and the clean out. Is there supposed to be another quote for heat?
So,
Or am I missing it?
no, you're not missing it at all. We have 3 concrete quotes for the envelope work and the interior clean out.
Okay.
The rest of it, I've we do so many projects around here that I was kind of able to pull pricing from other projects that we've done of similar sizes and scopes and sort of create and round out the rest of the pricing for this. As we dig deeper and start bringing in subs to quote out particular parts of it, we will go through the normal procurement process and get 3 quotes on any of the interior work. But I'll stand by the numbers that we have there as far as what we feel like it's going to take to upfit the interior offices and the bathroom.
Okay, because I see you got 141, 229, 20 between those 3 quotes. So you got roughly 59,000 left to
Plus 20, we always add contingency. So we
Yeah.
put 20% of contingency, and then the remaining cost is the interior upfit. There's still a certain amount of investigation that we have to do. There is an existing boiler system in the building. I need to bring my plumber in there, and we need to really understand what we're going to have to do to just bring one bathroom online. I don't want to fire up a whole boiler plant and heat the entire building if we're just utilizing one office. So there is a certain amount of investigation that still needs to happen inside that building, but I feel confident that for the number we've identified here, we're going to be able to bring that first floor online.
So are you going to have those numbers by town meeting?
That would be my goal, yes.
Or okay.
And to be clear, we are looking at doing the absolute minimum on this to get the first floor serviceable. So we don't anticipate a lot of scope creep, and what we have, we feel pretty sure that we'll be able to maintain an easy cutoff when we hit a budget figure.
Okay. I mean, the roof and the siding, absolutely, I think your goals here are absolutely spot on. I just, want to make sure that we have all the ducks in the row before we go before town meeting.
Yeah. The biggest expense really beyond the roof, the siding, and the interior clean out is the unit that we're going to use to heat that office. And we just installed a couple of these units, one of them on the second floor of IT. We did one on the first floor of IT last year. So that $15K number to install a split system in that front office, I feel very good about that quote. We do flooring projects all the time. So based on the square footage, the estimates are pretty easy to plug in there.
Did I miss those numbers, or
I didn't break them down line item by line item in the ask. I can certainly update the database if you'd like to see that a little more broken down.
Okay, I gotta figure out how to get the database. Okay.
Okay. Mike, go ahead.
Hi, thank you. I just wanted to say that I wouldn't be supportive of moving the IT department to that building at this point anyway, particularly as it would only be a stopgap measure, I think. It's no proposal that would become a permanent fixture. When we were preparing for the possibility of a new building on that side, we did some work to reorganize the network because our 2 data centers were the tech center down at Forge Village and the police department. And it makes no sense to bring that other tech center data center up to the same location as the first one. So then we started working on splitting those out. But then when the 51 Main thing was defeated so overwhelmingly, we abandoned that and are back with our 2 data center solution. So it would be a significant amount of work for us to move up there. And the thought of moving the people up there but leaving the data center and the tech center just seems absurd. So
yeah, I get it, Mike. That makes complete sense. I agree with you there. Christina, go ahead.
I think Jamie's ahead of me. You can take her.
What? I don't even see a hand for Jamie.
I see a hand for Jamie.
I don't. Now I do. I don't know how you did that, Jamie, but you're behind. But Christina's nice. Go ahead.
Hi. So I was wondering, I heard Kristen mention that the cost to get rid of that building is too expensive. But I mean, listening to this conversation and knowing what kind of condition that building's in, and that it sounds like this is like a quick fix. It's not like a permanent thing. It's a lot of money to invest in that. Is there, what was the cost to demolish that building? Is there a cost out there for that?
To demolish and basically put the site elements back into service, whether it be paving or anything else, we're in the $500 to $1 million range to do something like that. And the building, I'll say this, structurally, the building is actually in very good condition. The bones of the building are good. The problem with the building is obviously deferred maintenance on the building envelope. And really, it's the configuration and the use of the second floor that's the biggest issue. To do any significant renovations upstairs, we have to bring life safety and accessibility up to speed, which basically means sprinklers and elevators. That is extremely expensive, which is why we're not looking at that right now, because really the building itself doesn't make an enormous amount of sense for any type of frontline customer service. It could have use in the future on the top floor for storage, for training space, things like that, if we could figure out a way to do it without triggering a huge amount of life safety and accessibility improvements.
Okay, thank you.
Christina, unless there's somebody else I'm not seeing.
No, I think I'm next. So more of a general question. When will we see the full report from Tecton?
We're reviewing the final report right now, and we're trying to get basically the prioritization schedule nailed down. Once we have that piece, we're definitely looking. Kristen, what would you say by early October?
Yes, that is the goal.
Yeah, and the bottom line on the report, and I don't feel this is a huge surprise to anybody. We have massive space needs, but we also have a huge amount of deferred maintenance that needs to be done. We have got a lot of improvements we need to do on existing buildings before we contemplate any additional space. The real big takeaway for us is that probably the most feasible opportunity is going to rest on what happens with Robinson and how that affects the school building inventory and how we might be able to get future space. This particular project really doesn't fit anywhere within long-term plans for the town space needs. But since we're probably 7 to 10 years away from being able to, one, make the decisions on what we want to do for town hall space, but also be able to afford it, it makes sense to try to get whatever use we can out of this in the interim and keep it from continuing to degrade. It's going to become a major liability for us at some point. Well, I would say it's there already.
Okay. And just so that I'm clear, so this $200,000 renovation gets us one office and a bathroom?
Yes.
Okay, and but I thought it was animal control and the wellness coordinator.
No, we
No?
have the wellness coordinator and animal control share that former conference room A in town hall. They're basically, we got 3 people in that space with all their storage.
So they would share this other
No,
office?
no. We would move animal control, who right now is in that office, plus they've got storage in that building, in 51 Main at Beacon Street in their old building, in their work vehicles, their personal vehicles, and their basements at home. So we're trying to pull all of their assets into 51 Main. The wellness coordinator, for right now, we're going to leave her in that space because really she does need a private space, and we're looking at other spaces within the town that might be more appropriate for her activity outside of that office. So the hope is that within a year or so we'll be able to identify some space that makes more sense to put her location and free up that conference room.
Okay, so she's staying in the conference room. Animal control
Correct.
would be going to 51 Main. Okay.
Yes, but we're going to be working as quickly as we can to find an alternative space for her because we really do need to get that conference space back online.
Yeah. Okay. I I get it. You know, we're years away from really figuring this out the correct way, but to me, this is a really expensive Band-Aid. I'm having a lot of trouble with the 200,000. And I'm also, you know, we were originally told when 51 Main came up at town meeting several years ago, we had been told that this building could not be reused for anything. And so I'm trying to reconcile that. And I know, you know, Mike, Kristen, you weren't here then, but that's, you know, just a bit of history. That's what we were told. So again, to spend 200,000 for just one person,
Stopgap.
is a big swallow. So and also replacing the vinyl siding. I thought vinyl siding was supposed to like last forever. So I'm a little concerned and curious as to what happened there.
I think Jeff can speak to the siding. It's a combination of aluminum, vinyl, and wood, I believe, throughout that building.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. What's on there now is a hodgepodge of different sidings, but the biggest problem is if you go and look closer at the building, you have vinyl siding butting up to wood trim on the corners, and all the wood trim on the building is rotting off the corners, and that water is now getting behind what's rotted, and it's going to start rotting the actual physical building itself. And yes, you're right. Vinyl siding is really a 30-year option, but it is the least expensive of all the exterior cladding options we could go with. So it really, you know, we're trying to do this at as low a cost as possible. But I do feel like vinyl is going to be the cheapest and easiest way for us to get a new exterior on that building. But the big issue is the wood trim that's on the corners and around the windows. It's all rotting right off the building.
And there's no way to replace that and keep the vinyl that's there.
You know, the vinyl, particularly on the parking lot side, on the PD parking lot side, it's extremely damaged. There's holes from different, you know, infrastructure that penetrated the building at certain points. It's, in my opinion, it's not really worth saving. There's a gutter around the courtyard, you know, where the ceremony was yesterday, the courtyard there. There's a gutter and there's wood trim behind the gutter that's completely rotted. That all needs to be removed and have aluminum cladding put on that. By the time you strip all the wood off, it just makes better sense to put new vinyl corners on and reside the building. It's not really worth saving what's there.
Okay.
And Christina, just to get back to your comment, Mike and I are starting to dig through the town meeting presentations and what was discussed with the Permanent Town Building Committee. We really appreciate that history from people as we were not here at this time. Based upon Tecton Architecture's review of the building, they went through it with their architectural specialists. They had engineers go through it. They did say that the building is viable for certain uses. Perhaps at town meeting, it was presented that it would not be viable for the actual specific uses that were desired to go in that time. So if you could give us a little bit more time just to dig into that history, if anybody has the history and they want to provide it to us, we're more than willing to look at it.
Yeah, and
It was
to build
different.
on that, it really is the change of use that's going to trigger significant needed upgrades on that building. If it changes the top floor to something different, like dedicated office space or assembly space,
Yeah.
then we do trigger all of these ADA upgrades and 521 CMR code upgrades for accessibility. And we're trying to avoid that. We just need to the building is not condemned. I've heard that, but if it continues to take on water, we will have a building that is useful for nothing, not even as a parking
Sure.
garage.
No, I understand that, but you know, I'm not even all that concerned about triggering some of those other costs, because if for $2 million we get a building that could house IT and could get the animal control and wellness and take care of a good amount of our space needs, then we've done that for 2 million versus the 12 million or whatever we were talking about for a new building. So that's kind of where my head is at. But thanks.
Yeah, no, Christina's right, guys. We can go back through it, but it was always presented as there's nothing you can do with it. And I think that was more the eye was on totally renovating it, putting it all back in use and all that. But people in town, the thing that we've all heard all the time was you can do nothing. So that will be a question I'm sure that comes up from folks. So
We'll make
uh,
sure we're prepared to answer that.
yeah, no, that's all. That's great. Jared, go ahead.
Yeah, thanks. I'll be quick. No, I understand the 200K price tag on this. I think that makes sense to me just from what I've seen at other buildings. But just you mentioned there's a lot of space needs for the town. Is there a prioritization list somewhere of that information? I know I'm new and I don't have access to where a lot of these things would be, but has that exercise been done already?
It has, and I see Krista may want to speak to that. We are in the process of finishing up that space needs. Like Jeff had mentioned, we did an inventory for really townwide space programming, but across 10 buildings. And we have the space needs assessment, we have the existing conditions assessment, we have all the cost and option information. We're just in the final tweaking of the prioritization right now. So we should be seeing that coming out mid February, or excuse me, mid October-ish.
Okay.
I will caution you, it looked at buildings that haven't been previously looked at, so it's going to be a lot of work on staff to then take that 10 building plan, mesh it with the school plan, and then also pull in the other buildings that were looked at under previous studies, like the senior center. So it's kind of a first phase. It captures most of the town facilities, but we'll have some work to pull other stuff in, and then really big picture that will pull in that long-term capital plan will end up pulling in, IT infrastructure, vehicles, physical infrastructure that Kyle will be working on. So it's part of really a long range planning effort.
Thank you.
Jared, when we met, I may have referred to it as the facilities assessment. And I believe that you were going to look into that, but I'm happy to send it again.
We'll go with Tom, and then guys, we should probably keep moving through. We've got a bunch of other requests to keep going with, but Tom, what do you got?
Yeah, just to comment real quick, I would really when you want to present this to somebody, think you have the stabilization of the building itself, which is the roof, the siding. You could probably put the clean out in there and then separately present, and then to house this one person, this is the additional for that one building. Because I think people will understand stabilization of something versus tearing it down. Just a comment.
Good. Got it. Thank you.
Thanks, Tom.
And to clarify, it is 2 people.
Thanks, Mike.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you guys. Good discussion. Let's move on to the fire department. We've got a couple big requests there.
Morning, everybody. Mike Dennehy, Fire Chief. Been with the department for 25 years. Recently promoted in December. So currently we have 2 trucks. One is 16 years old and the other one is 31 years old. They have come to recently decommissioned unexpectedly for various reasons, leaving us with no spare fire trucks. So if one of our other fire trucks goes out of service, we don't necessarily have a spare. What's compounding the situation is we're looking for an engine now and then we're looking to replace one of the frontline engines that's due to be replaced in 3 years. The reason being for the replacement now is we're looking at almost a 40-month or up to 4-year wait to order a truck, which is, there's a lot of history behind that and reasons for it. Won't get into that, but engine 2 and engine 5, engine 2 has been suffering a lot of body separation. We've had it welded previously, which costs almost $16,000. It's separating again. It's been recommended with the problematic engine problems of it it's not a safe truck, and the manufacturer is recommending to us to get rid of it. So we've placed it out of service because of safety concerns. Engine 5 also, actually, let me back up. Engine 2 has also been when it's in service, it did 200 calls last year. It costs us almost 50% of our maintenance budget between towing and repairs. Engine 5 recently we did our NFPA pump test, which is required for every truck, every engine that has a pump capacity on it by NFPA yearly. That pump has recently failed, and we've been told we may not be able to find the parts, and we're unsure of whether or not the pump will work when it gets repaired. So that's where we're at now with the 2 trucks. We're looking to consolidate the 2 spares into one to save the townspeople some money. I know it's a big expense. And then we're looking to order the replacement of engine 4, because that is now 7 years old. And by the time it comes in, it's going to be 11.
Got it. Thank you, Chief. Any questions on that one, guys? You know you did a good job, Chief, when like there's not a ton of hands.
Well,
right?
I was hoping I was going to get the same treatment as Mike Wells with the Mike name, but
We're getting there. Listen,
Matt Savatek, the deputy chief, has done a lot of research on apparatus. We have the ability to get a truck. Granted, it's not a special ordered. It's not what we normally do, but it would fit the need right now as a reserve piece. There's one coming off the lot in Matt, you want to chime in on when that one is?
Matt, you're on mute, I think. I can't hear you.
No. So I can chime in. There's trucks out there that are manufactured. In our research we've been doing, we're trying to maintain a quality of a truck. We don't want to buy a truck off a lot that's been pre-built. Sure. Some of these companies pre-built trucks. We don't want to buy one off the lot that doesn't fit our needs, and we want one that's going to last. These trucks are integral. They're very expensive. The lifespan on them, they're expecting 15 to 20 years. So Pierce currently is a reputable truck. We've had Pierce in the past. They make a couple trucks a year that are already on the lot, and there's one coming due within 3 months, which we could grab up as a reserve and then look to replace the other truck in special order like we've done in the past to fit our everyday needs for a frontline piece.
Okay, that's helpful. Thank you.
To give you a little history, to give you a little more history, we've done a lot internally where we've taken the engine 1, which is our oldest frontline piece. We've moved the ladder into a primary use because the ladder should be here next year. Yep. So we're trying to do what we can internally to reduce our runs, not sending apparatus as we used to on certain calls. We've reduced our running assignments to try to prolong the wear and tear in these trucks. And unfortunately, with the recent retirement of our mechanic, we don't have a fleet mechanic either. So the maintenance costs are adding up.
Got it.
Because of the aging of the fleet.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And to think strategically, that's what we're trying to do, is think strategically to try to get our replacement plan back in play in line with the delays. And
yeah, I think that makes a lot of sense with these pieces of machinery. So we appreciate that. John, go ahead.
Yeah, so I just got a couple of questions. I thought last year we authorized authorized the purchase of a pumper truck.
Yeah, you did.
Can I speak to that, Mike? Is my microphone working now?
Yep, there it is.
All right, awesome. So we have we have 3 pumper trucks currently and 1 tower ladder truck. And these trucks per NFPA standards for called department of our size with the number of runs that we do are on a 10-year replacement schedule. So the one that we voted on last year and was authorized was the replacement for engine 1, which is a 2014. So that one was due to be put into reserve status last year. So what we're unable to prepare for is the sudden uptick in the length of time that it takes to get a piece of apparatus. So it used to be when you ordered one, 9 months, maybe 11 months, and you would have it delivered. The pumper that we have coming up next, the next line item there, they quoted us 1,500 days.
Yeah.
So that one from last year was for an engine 1 replacement. The one that's in the next line item is actually, we were trying to order engine 4, which is due to be replaced in 3 years because our wait time is now over 4 years to get it.
Got it. There's a timing issue. That makes sense. Christina, go ahead.
I think you may have just answered my question, but so the one we approved last year is for engine 1, but you're not getting that for another 3 years, 3.5, whatever. Then the one that we're talking about for $1 million is the one that's already on a lot, right? So we want to take advantage of getting that one and replacing engine 4.
To be clear, that particular one has not come off the assembly line yet.
Okay.
And since we haven't committed to buy it with a purchase order, it is not ours.
Okay.
So it is that does have the possibility of it being claimed by someone else in between now and we get our approval. But they come up with one approximately every 2 to 3 months. So getting an approval for funding would then allow us to grab the next one that comes along the line and not have a 1,500 day wait.
Okay. And then the next one is just to get in line to replace another one that's going to need to be replaced in 3 years. And okay.
Exactly. So we're trying to realign our replacement strategy to more closely resemble that 10 years. So we're already been delayed with the engine 1. As was pointed out, that was approved last year. And so this one's trying to get us back on track. This will already be over 10 years by the time we have this engine in our department, but we're trying to get as close as possible back on track.
Okay. And just one more question. The $1 million engine, that's different than the $1.4 million.
It is, and there's a lot of reasons for that. The first of which is that it was advised for us to put that in there as not to exceed, and it comes off the lot with the quote that was given at 800 and change. And what we don't know is the exact configuration of the compartments as it comes off that lot. So we need to have some upfitting, some tool mounting, some other expenses. Radios, we know what those cost. We know what certain tools like ladders, we got to buy ladders. We know what those cost, but really it's the mounting of all that stuff, lettering of the truck to reflect our town emblem and whatnot.
Okay.
Those things are fixed costs, but there are some costs in there that we don't really know what they will be until it comes off the lot and we can actually look inside the compartment.
So excuse my ignorance, but why can't we buy all of those $1 million ones instead of the $1.4 million?
That's an excellent question. That really is. One of the reasons why we custom build trucks is it's the same reason we custom build our ambulances, which is these trucks get shifted around a lot and work in multiple stations and have multiple roles. So what we try to do is make them as similar as possible to each other so that when they are being moved around or personnel's moved around, they're not having to relearn and rethink about what truck they're on. That's one of the reasons. Another reason is over the years, we've had very good luck with having stainless steel being the underlaying construction of the bodies. The one that we're considering here for that 1 million is not. It is an aluminum body as opposed to stainless steel. I haven't found one yet that comes off a lot like this one that we can get in that stainless. So that's an additional cost as well. It's also a different manufacturer. I mean, I can really go into the nitty gritty if you want, but there's a lot of reasons.
Enough. Thank you.
Thanks. All right, John, do you have a follow-up?
Yeah. Just a couple of quick ones. So if we do this and get the 2 new engines, which it sounds like we really don't have a choice, how long before we're going to need to be placing a purchase order for another one? Is it going to be next year or 5 years, or and are we going to get hit for another 2 engines all at once again, or are we going to be able to spread the cost out for new engines over a period of time?
I can answer that as well. So we do have a couple of in our inventory, a couple of other smaller purchases that will be coming up. Brush truck. We replaced our service last year. The towers hopefully will be here this spring. But in terms of large costs like this, our next piece that will be due is engine 3, which is a 2022, which means it's due for replacement in 2032. So we have a bit of a gap here before we'll hopefully need a next major purchase like this.
Okay, thanks, Matt. And my last quick question is, Dan, probably a question for you. How do we finance this? Is this included or excluded debt?
This would most likely be non-excluded debt, so within the levy limit.
Okay,
right.
That's good.
All right, guys, we're gonna move on to the 1-4. And just a heads up, we do have some folks that have to drop at 10. So I know with new folks and with the 51 main and then some larger ticket items that we can run long, but I do want to be respectful of the timelines that we put out. So if we can try to move through, I would appreciate it so that the folks who have to leave at 10 can hear the conversation as well. That's important. So I think we've talked around it a little bit. Matt, Chief, do you want to go further into the 1-4 on the pump replacement?
I don't know that we need to, but I think just to be clear on it, the 1-4 is to approve the ordering of one. So this will not be paid for, obviously, until it gets delivered, which is 1,500 days away. So it shouldn't affect the budget for another, 1,500.
It's the point in the order. It's the same thing. It's the timing, and we're getting ahead of the timing, which is the same thing with the million. So it makes total sense. I appreciate that. Okay, I'm not seeing questions on that one. Again, I think it just goes right into what we're talking about. So let's keep going. And thank you guys, Matt, Chief. Thank you so much. Really appreciate the time this morning. I know you guys are busy, so let's go to DPW and the 2 requests we have right now for the loader and the tractor.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Good morning, committee members. I'd like to start real quick by introducing to the committee our new business manager, Gulshan Kumar. I'll let him introduce himself.
Morning, everyone. My name is Gulshan Kumar, and I've joined the team about 6-7 months ago. Currently, I'm focused on some special projects in the area of stormwater and wastewater. And I'm trying to get my feet wet with the whole budget cycle, which we are just beginning to do that. So I'm hoping that I'll be taking a more active role as we move forward in terms of the budgeting cycle as well. So I'm a 29-year resident of the town, very vested in the town. My wife has been teaching at the academy for the last 22, 23 years now. So glad to be part of this discussion.
Thanks, Gulshan. Great to meet you and welcome.
Thank you.
If you don't mind, Paul, I'd like to take these 2 items sort of together.
Go for it, Kyle. I love it.
Okay. So first off, why the need for equipment on special town meeting? So back in 21-22, during that winter, the Public Works Department developed a pilot program to maintain 3.8 miles of sidewalk. It was actually a little less than that at the time. So we went through the first 3-year contract period in that pilot program, which brought us to last winter. So for last winter, we re-advertised the bid proposal. We only received 1 bid, who had been our current vendor contractor. And he reluctantly submitted a bid because he was trying to get out of doing it. But but he did bid, and so we were hopeful that he would extend the contract for 2 more years so we could keep the pilot program going. We communicated about a month ago, and he indicated he had no interest in working for us this winter. So his plan is to sell the equipment that he bought used for the program, and get out of the business. So we do have an opportunity to purchase that equipment through the company that he originally bought it from, which is what the $40,000 estimate is for the mini compact articulating loader with a snowblower attachment. Doing that part of the proposal would allow us to utilize in-house staff to continue to operate the pilot program sidewalks, which basically it's Plain Road and Oak Hill Road, the new sidewalks that engineering built, and then some sidewalks around the town center in front of Town Hall, partway down Boston Road, down to the Abbott School, so that area. The second proposal before you is kind of an option B, or preferably I'd like to exercise both options. I think it would be the best for the town, but this would be for a new trackless MT articulating tractor. The nice thing about this piece of equipment, it would allow us to do the pilot program sidewalks, but we'd also be able to expand our service for winter maintenance on sidewalks, which is a request we get quite often, and we see on social media as well. Why are we building sidewalks and not maintaining them? So it's sort of in that vein. Additionally, the added benefit of this particular tractor would be it would greatly improve efficiency on certain operations year round, most notably our roadside mowing program and detention pond maintenance program through some of the attachments that we can put on the tractor with a boom flail and a front flail mower. What that would additionally do is would allow us to keep our specialized pieces of equipment, our skid steer and our excavator, most notably, doing skid steer and excavator things rather than running around town doing roadside mowing. And so overall, it would increase efficiency of our year-round programs. So that's a brief intro, trying to keep time compact, and I'd be happy to answer any questions.
No, I think that's great, Kyle. I think that's good. Do we have questions for Kyle on those two? Christina, go ahead.
So has the select board or whoever decided that we are going to be plowing additional sidewalks besides the original pilot program ones?
So great question, Christina. They haven't. We now, fortunately, we finally have our assistant director on board. She started about a month ago, and she's off this week for a planned vacation. Otherwise, I would have her here to meet all of you folks as well. But our intent is to get an updated winter maintenance policy to the select board this fall. And of course, that will be one of the discussion points.
Okay. Given that this was a pilot program to begin with, I think there needs to be a little bit of a more kind of policy discussion first before we go and think about adding pieces of equipment. Those are it's just my thought. I mean, I live on Plain Road, so having the sidewalks plowed in the winter, yeah, that's great for me, but I'm not sure that I'm willing to sign up for $340,000 to maintain 3.8 miles of sidewalk. That's just my opinion.
Jana, go ahead.
Yeah, to Christina's point, I was curious, I'm assuming somebody must know, what is the mileage of sidewalks we have within the town? What percentage of our sidewalks?
Oh boy, what a question.
3.8 miles. That's probably a hot button question for a newbie.
It's not a hot button, Shana. It's a great question, actually. And we will get into it later in the whole planning. So it's a wonderful question, actually. We have an entire sidewalk database and system, and It's actually really impressive. It's cool. You like it when we get to it to actually see it, but they do a very good job. They have a whole software system that updates where we have sidewalks, what sidewalks need to be replaced, where we're adding, what we're doing. There's a whole sidewalk plan. There is a really well put together plan, which you'll like when we get to it. But yes, it's a great question.
Yeah, my
Not a bad
curiosity was
question.
just, what
Yeah.
does 3.8 miles actually for the money? What percentage of our total sidewalks is that really?
Kyle, we are finishing up a sidewalk assessment plan, correct? And do we have a draft amount of mileage of sidewalk currently? And if you can't answer that today, it's totally fine. We can get back to the committee. I don't want to
I
put you on the
can't
spot.
off the top of my head.
Kyle,
Jeremy's going to jump in and save the day.
I can comment. Jeremy Downs, the assistant town engineer. I've been in this role for the last 15 years. And to that point, yeah, we're working on a sidewalk assessment that we're doing with Beta, similar to what we do for our pavement management. And we recently got the draft report. So we have about 62, 63 miles of sidewalk across town. And we'll be rolling out that report soon. It's a whole assessment. There's some ADA compliance in there, as well as just general condition assessment, whether it's good, fair, or poor. We look at curb ramps, crosswalks, all those types of things.
Okay. So if there's 60 something miles, this money is covering right now less than 4. That's what I'm hearing.
Correct.
Correct.
Yeah. That's correct.
I was also curious, like what the cost, like how much money were we paying to the vendor to do this in totality versus the cost of the equipment that we'd be
Yep,
buying?
so-
What was the savings there by insourcing after we bought the equipment?
Yep. So what I did for analysis on the $40,000 proposal. So we spend through our snow and ice budget just under $40,000 a year for our contracted service for those 3.8 miles. Should we switch to an in-house service? Obviously, it'd be a one-time fee to buy the unit, and noting that it's a 2017 tractor with a useful life of about 10 to 15 years. So there's limited life in what we'd be buying, but it is in good, fine condition. So that said, the cost on the budget side, a lot of it depends on that policy that Christina was noting, and whether we plow during overtime hours, only during straight time hours only, or some combination. I did build into the capital data sheet an estimate of 80 hours of overtime for the primary sidewalks in the current pilot, which would run about $3,000 extra out of the snow and ice budget. But again, going forward in the years, we'd be saving that nearly $40,000 that we've been spending in contracted services.
Got it. That's helpful. Thank you. Anything else on these ones, guys? Awesome. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Kyle. Appreciate it. Let's go on to the next one, which I know we'll have some questions on, which is good. So Parks and Grounds, the 2.1 for the Nutting Road Community Fields. We talked a lot about this one last year as well for a lot of different purposes, but we have it here for special town meeting. So
yeah, we did, and I'll be brief. Shortly, or the reason again for special town meeting is to try and be cognizant of player safety and available resources to keep performing maintenance on the existing turf that it's beyond its original useful life already. It was sold as a 10-year turf, and we're coming up on year 15. So at town meeting in March, the project was supported by just about 65% of the voters, but it didn't pass due to the 2/3 requirement needed for bonding capacity. So following that meeting in May, we presented additional information from questions we heard at town meeting to the public through a Park and Rec Commission meeting. We held the meeting at the Millennium Building to allow for additional space, and we had a virtual option as well. That the meeting was very well attended. We had standing room only at the Millennium and a number of other people online. the presentation noted a few key points. One of the comments that was asked about at town meeting was the option to convert the fields to grass. So we noted that the project cost initially to convert to grass would be similar to the turf replacement project, around 2 million or so. But it could be eligible for CPA funds. So there's a distinct difference between the two projects.
Yeah.
The long-term or opportunity cost, however, for grass is far higher. And the key reason for that is turf fields offer about 2 to 3 times more capacity for field use over grass fields. So if we were to keep the same level of service for our users, we would actually need to develop 2 to 3 more times the surface space that Nutting currently offers. And those capital land acquisition and development costs would kind of dwarf the costs we're talking about for either straight conversion to grass or the turf replacement. Additionally, there were some environmental concerns raised both before town meeting and during town meeting. We're working through that through developing a quality bid spec for the project, and we're tailoring the spec to be protective of PFAS, certainly different toxins and metals, specifically with regard to the crumb rubber. We are hoping to put this out to bid, or we're planning to put a bid out for the project next Wednesday, September 17th, with bids opening October 9th. That way we'd be able to come to special town meeting with an actual dollar amount for what the project would cost, which I think the voters would appreciate as well in the decision-making process. There's a lot of detail both in your packet and that have been talked about over the past 2 years. So I'll keep it short there and entertain any questions.
No, I appreciate that, Kyle. I think what I've got, and Kristen, maybe this is more for you really, is just I want to be respectful of the fact that, just half a year ago, we took this to town meeting and it got voted down for the same amount. So I guess I appreciate everything you just walked through, Kyle, but Kristen, do you feel comfortable that the new information, the follow-up with town, the support that we've got since, the questions that have been answered since warrant bringing it right back now to special town meeting? And if you're comfortable with that, I am. I supported the project before, but I do want to be very respectful of the fact that, it wasn't approved at town meeting. And so bringing it back so quickly, I think will raise questions around town. So I just want to make sure we feel that we've answered, constituents' questions and we've gotten to the point. So not to put you on the spot, Kristen, but are you comfortable with that?
I appreciate the question. I am comfortable. I've had that conversation with the team actually ever since the day after town meeting of what we would be doing next. This project is within the budget that we set for the fiscal 26.
Yep.
We've done a lot more outreach and investigation. The project failed at town meeting by 12 votes. And like Kyle said, it was a 2/3 vote. So it was not I think if it failed by 50% or even 20%, that would be a little bit different, and I'd look at it differently. So I think that right now is the time to bring that back. I appreciate all of the public outreach that our staff has done and that the Parks and Recreation Committee has done as well.
I'm good. That's perfect. I makes total sense to me. I support it. So, Christina, go ahead.
This will be excluded debt again, I assume. So the same 2/3 vote.
Not excluded, Christina.
Oh, okay. All right. So just the 50%, just the majority?
No, it's still a bond issue, so it's 2/3
Oh, it is.
majority, but it's not excluded debt, so it's not above the tax base. It's within it.
Okay. So my question is, I may be jumping the gun, but I want to make sure that we're maybe setting ourselves up to be in a better position when this needs to get replaced again in another 12, 15 years. And so when are the field fees discussions going to take place? And I'm sort of hoping that in those discussions, there's room for putting some money aside so that we've got some money set aside to replace these fields, and we're thinking about that ahead of time.
Yep. So as of July 1st, Mike Edwards now oversees the Recreation Department. I am in close contact with and oversee the Department of Public Works. Mike has been in conversation with the Recreation Department and the Parks and Recreation Committee on the fee schedules. As Kyle alluded to, now we do have an assistant DPW director. We do have Gulshan as our business manager. So those discussions have started in earnest, and we will be prepared for that within the next year.
Okay, great. Thanks.
Awesome. Great. I'm not seeing any other hands raised, so we can move on to ambulance, enterprise, and then we have stormwater before we move forward.
Sure, this was actually my request. This is not a new ambulance that we're purchasing. This was actually authorized back at the 2024 annual town meeting. However, at that time, we didn't have enough in retained earnings to actually order the ambulance. But we wanted to get that ordered because they take 4 years to get into the town. So this is simply changing the funding source from a bond issue to retained earnings.
And do we need to take this one to special town meeting, Tim?
Yeah, we do need the appropriation.
Okay.
It's just a good time to clean it up, I'd say.
Yeah, it makes total sense. Okay, I didn't realize you needed that, but that's fine. Okay. Any questions on this one, guys? Not seeing them. Okay, great. Thanks, Tim. Let's go on to stormwater.
I'll take this, Paul.
I can jump in on just Paul Starrett, town engineer. So we got a report from Mass DOT who inspects our bridges in town. If we had a bridge in failure, Jeremy Downs, the assistant town engineer, has taken the lead on this. You want to tell them what's going on, Jeremy?
Sure. So this funding request is for the engineering, design, permitting, and construction services to repair the Colonial Drive Bridge. The bridge is comprised of 2 metal culverts, but because of their size and spacing, they're classified by DOT as a bridge rather than a culvert. So as Paul mentioned, a recent DOT bridge inspection downgraded the condition rating from poor to serious. So rather than inspecting the bridge every 2 years, DOT is now going to inspect the bridge every 3 months, just to keep an eye on it. The bridge is located near the dead-end loop of Colonial Drive, where there's no other means of access. So if DOT were to close the bridge, it would prevent access to about 12 homes. We're proposing a cured-in-place pipe option as a repair. It's a trenchless technology that's completed by inserting a new fiber reinforced liner into each pipe and inflating it to match the existing cross-section. And then the pipe is cured using UV light, and when fully hardened, it replaces the structural capacity of the existing pipe. And the design life for this type of technology is about 50 years. The trenchless repair method, it's much less disruptive than an open cut replacement. It's less costly as well. But because it's trenchless, the road can remain open throughout construction, which probably would take between a week to 2 total. So it's a pretty quick process. We were originally planning on asking for funding at annual town meeting in 2026, but based on the current bridge report that we received a couple weeks ago, we decided we wanted to try to accelerate the project so we could avoid any potential closures. We had originally put in $300,000 in for the request, but we did get some information last night. Conversation with our consultant, they were able to reach out to a contractor they're working with on a similar project, and they're telling us that the range could be fairly significant, between $300,000 and $450,000. But right now we have a cost of $95,000 for the engineering and permitting part of the project, but we won't know the actual construction cost until we put it out to bid. But we feel like, increasing the ask to $450,000 would make sense. We feel it's going to be a very conservative number, but we want to make sure that we have the available funding. We don't come up short when we put the project out to bid.
Got it. And Dan, for everybody's benefit, do you want to just talk about funding sources for the stormwater?
Sure. So actually, timing was great. We actually had free cash and our retained earnings all certified yesterday. So what we would use for this project is the Stormwater Enterprise Funds, and they just got approved yesterday. at just under 1.9 million. So using 450 of that seems completely reasonable to me. We do have the funding there.
Great, thank you.
And if I could just jump in real quick on the cost, although 500,000 sounds like a lot, or 450,000, we've recently done a couple other culvert projects of similar size, and those projects are coming in excess of $1 million each using conventional construction methods.
Great, John, go ahead.
I just wanted to keep in mind that we're, contemplating an increase in the fee for stormwater, and we've had that new, cash available. Be careful. Do we really need to use stormwater funds for this? It's a structural issue, not necessarily a stormwater issue.
So John, Paul Sterrett, town engineer, we are going to be replacing culverts throughout the town based on a culvert assessment study that we had done. So this really falls into that category. Dan has some pictures he could put up if you wanted to see what we're actually talking about. Mass DOT uses some technical terminology to describe bridges and structures and so forth, but this is a culvert. And so we got ahead of these because we took so this is what we're looking at. So technically, because there's two of these side by side, they constitute a bridge, technically. But in fact, these are culverts conveying stormwater, and for that reason, we're asking for stormwater enterprise funds.
Got it. Thank you, Paul. John, you good with that? Cool.
Yes.
I read your lips. It's all good. All right, guys, anything else on this one? I appreciate everybody's diligence on getting us up. So that's the list for special town meeting. I guess Kristen and Dan, I'll ask you guys, do you want to take a vote at this point for our recommendations on it? I know we've got a few meetings before special town meetings. That's why I asked that, with some of the questions that came up, especially around 51 Main, we could hold off, but I'm happy to take the vote now and get the recommendation if it's better for you guys procedurally.
Well, why don't we just go over the timeline, because there are some new members, so I want to make sure everyone's aware of the timeline. So the select board is going to be meeting on September 23rd to close the warrant. All of these items will be on the warrant. The finance committee is scheduled to meet and vote their recommendations on September 25th. And then we will be mailing out the town meeting postcard and finalizing the motions the first week of October. Dan and I have talked that if the capital planning committee would like an extra meeting, we're open to a few dates and times next week or on the 22nd in the morning. So I will leave it to the committee's desire. We don't want to rush anyone. We do have a little bit of time if everyone's open to an extra meeting.
I don't feel the need for an extra meeting. I think we went through them pretty thoroughly. I think they're questions, but I'm happy to do it if anybody, or if there's a few folks who feel that there's a need for that. I'm happy to go right now. If you object, let me know to moving to a vote for a recommendation. And what we'll do, again, just procedurally, we usually like to vote on these as the group and going through and reading the tea leaves. I think most people will be comfortable. If you're not, that's totally fine. And what we usually do is we ask if there's any folks who are not would not vote in favor of any specific items, and then we can note that you vote in favor of all but this one or two or all, or however you want to vote. So we will give you the opportunity to say yay or nay on all of them. But at this point, I'll just ask if anybody in the committee feels that we need another meeting before taking that procedural vote. I'm not trying to rush you, but I'm not seeing anybody run to a show of hands. And again, with the new system, Dan, if I'm missing something, let me know. But I just see everybody who's on camera. So
yeah, and like you said, if anybody wants to take any of these and vote separately on them, we can do that. Just like putting a hold on it too, if anybody wants to do so.
Good.
So that's what I want to go to next, not seeing a hand. So great, we don't need another meeting for this. So I'm going to move to, I'm about to move to ask for a vote on recommending the items as presented. And noting that 51 Main has the new amounts put in as well. But before I do that, is there anybody who would like to, again, vote nay on any one or more of the items before I move to the total? So Christina, go ahead.
Yeah, so I'd like to pull out 51 Main, the sidewalk tractor, and the compact loader.
Okay.
Yeah,
Great.
those
Okay.
three.
So those three. So just for the
I
record.
agree with those ones as well.
Okay, great. Thank you, Shayna. So for the record, Christina and Shayna, but for those three, you're good with the rest of the list. 51 Main, sidewalk tractor, and compact loader. Those three items you guys are a no on, but the rest you are a yay. Can I just get a verbal confirmation on that from both of you?
Yes.
Thanks.
For Shayna.
That's correct.
Okay. Not seeing any other hands at this point, I will ask for a motion to approve the recommended list as amended.
So moved.
Second.
Thank you, John. Thank you. Who was the second? Was that Christina? Thank you. I'm gonna go through the list here. I need verbals, so I'm just gonna go through our list real quick. And again, some people aren't on camera, so if you're not here, my bad. But I'm a yes. Dan?
Yes.
Tom L?
I believe Shayna is voting for
Yes.
school.
Shayna is voting
Yes,
for
I
school
will.
committee at this meeting.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you, Shayna. Jamie?
Yes.
Christina?
Yes.
Tom W?
Yes.
Jared?
Yes.
John C?
Yes.
Dr. Chu? Well, we still got you?
Yes.
Awesome. Kristen?
Yes.
Great, thank you. Dr. Chu's got a 10 o'clock meeting that he's got to get to. Again, this is a lot of why I like to keep us on time is I really do respect everybody's opinions. I like the vote from the members. So Dr. Chu, thank you for hanging around. You don't need to stay for the minutes and the other stuff. We'll get through it without you, but thank you very much. I apologize for putting you up to the last minute.
And
So,
Paul, I just want to clarify. So for
yep.
the sidewalk tractor, the compact loader, and the 51 Main, everyone else voted yes for that, with Christina voting no, correct? I just want if anybody's watching this in the future, just want to make sure everyone's clear.
Thank you. Yeah, so it'll pass. So it'll pass as recommended from the committee to you. I recommend the committee recommends that you do it with a vote of it's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8-2 on those three, 10-0 on the rest. So that should be, keep me honest, guys, but based off of my running list here of committee members, that should be how the votes work out. All right, awesome. So Dan, next we have the review and comment on the draft capital planning policy. Do you want to go through that? Or do you want
Sure.
To
Yeah, it's basically just what we're doing is we're updating all of our financial policies because it's best practice to do so. And of course, we wanted to start with capital because it's the most fun one to do. So basically, the state has all these templates that we used, and we basically modified it to show what Westford's process currently is. And we even built in the strategic plan into this as well. So basically, this is just a share to get any comments from the capital committee before it goes to the select board for approval. It doesn't have to be right now. You can email me in the next coming weeks, but we are trying to send this to the select board for their September 23rd meeting. And throughout the year, in the coming years, you'll see other fiscal policies coming through. So, but this is a good one to start with since it's our current practice. So, but any questions, comments?
Tom, go ahead.
I can't find it.
Okay, let me bring it up right now.
I mean, you can mail it to me.
You want to email it?
Just
I can do that.
James,
and
Yeah, sorry. I was confused about what just happened with the vote, and I would not have put forward the 51 Main Street. I thought that Christina's motion was to take those off the table right now for everyone. I didn't realize that we individually had to say something after that. So I would agree with what Shayna and Christina both said, that 51 Main and the sidewalks, the equipment for the sidewalks, I would not
You
have
want to amend
pushed
your
through.
vote? You want to amend your
Yes,
vote
I would like to amend
to
my
be what
vote.
Shannon and Christina did, so you're voting on all the others but those three, that same with them.
Correct. Yep.
Okay.
Sorry, I
Noted.
misunderstood.
No, that's okay. That's okay. We're learning. It's good. Okay. We can take that note. Thank you. All right. Christina, go ahead.
Just one thing on the policy. Dan, so I have some minor comments. Should I just send those to you and Kristen?
Yeah, that'd be great.
Okay.
Sure.
Yeah, maybe we can treat the policy the same as we're going to talk about in a second with the approval of the minutes, but I'll handle it the same way. So for all the new members and maybe some of the old too, we review and try to approve the minutes from previous meetings in our next meetings. And the ask is, if you have nits and nats and stuff like that to go through, please just email them. We don't like to spend our time here going through like comments and ads and name deletes. But if you have something structural, we absolutely want to talk about them here and get them on the record. So it's important to make sure that the minutes are reflecting accurately what we talked about and how you felt your voices were heard in this. So I'll move to that, and I'll ask if anybody has anything but small edits, which they can send through email on the minutes from January 22nd.
Looks good.
Thanks, John. Again, not trying to rush you guys, but I'm not seeing any hands here. So I'm going to move to, I'm going to ask for a recommendation to approve the minutes. I will ask for the new members, just because you weren't here, that you abstain from approving the minutes, just because I'll take the vote of the folks who were here, just to keep it as coherent as possible going forward. So can I get a motion to approve the minutes?
So moved.
Thank you, John.
Second.
Thank you, Christina. And then I'll go around the folks who are here. So Dan?
Yes.
I'm a yes. John C?
Yes.
Kristen?
Yes.
Tom L?
I'm going to abstain because I did not review them.
Okay. Christina?
Yes.
Okay. And I'm a yes. Dr. Chu's not here and Jenny can't follow up. So I think I got everybody that was here in that meeting. So, okay. It removes. We always have, or almost always have on the agenda, old business. So if there's anything that anybody on the committee would like to bring up that we haven't talked about in this meeting that they feel needs to be addressed, we have a few minutes at the end where we like to give everybody the floor for any comments or any questions, especially for the new members, just given that this is your first meeting with us. If you've got questions or comments, you can always ping me or Kristen or Dan offline too. Happy to answer anything or talk through anything. But if you got anything here for the committee, now is the time that we like to give everybody the opportunity to raise it.
First and foremost, I just wanted to say thanks for having me on this. Looking forward to getting more involved and appreciate being here. If you have questions for me separately, just to get to know me as a new member of the community, feel free to reach out directly and let me know.
Appreciate that, Jared. Thank you. And like I said at the beginning, we're really excited to have you guys. I'm a big fan of this committee. I've been around it for a while. It does tend to be one of the better. I'm biased, obviously, but it's one of the better committees in town, I'm convinced. So appreciate everybody's time and effort in this volunteer position, right? So it's very much appreciated the time you guys put in to help the town. So thank you. Anything else? Jamie, what do you got? You got anything else for me? I don't mind putting you on the spot. John C., what do you got?
I just wanted to comment on, I've watched this committee since its inception. And we started out, we were looking at maybe $1.5 million capital expenditures a year. And I think this committee's done amazing work over the time of getting us up to a budget that's, contributes to sustaining our capital resources. So I think the committee's done an exceptional job over the life of it.
Thank you, John. I really appreciate that. All right. Dan, we got the future meetings listed. Did we Has everybody seen that? You guys all seen the dates? And that seems they're Friday mornings, they're 8:30s. That's pretty much what we do. When we get later in the year, if there's a need for to add some meetings here or there, sometimes not often, but very rarely we'll add like a Tuesday meeting or a Wednesday if it works for everybody in the morning. But pretty much try to do these Friday meetings. So you can see there October 3rd, the 17th, November 7th, and November 14th. Hopefully that works for everybody. If it doesn't, or there's a bigger number that can't make these meetings, we will adjust, but that is the plan for right now. All right. Unless anybody has anything else, I'm gonna look for a motion to adjourn the meeting.
So moved.
Second.
Thank you, John. Thank you, Christina.
Yes.
And I'll go through the John's a yes, I'm a yes, Dan,
Yes.
Tom L.
Shayna, yes.
Shayna, I'm sorry, Shayna. I just
That's all right.
Jamie,
Yes.
Christina,
Yes.
Tom W,
Yes.
Jared,
Yes.
and Kristen.
Yes.
Awesome. That's what we got, guys. Thank you so much. I really do appreciate everybody's time. It's good seeing you all this morning.
Anyway.
Bye
Thank
all.
you very much.
Yeah,
All right, bye-bye.
yeah, have a good day.